I want to talk about some of your comments on my 4 last Good Talk videos. We're going to start with the one about dream locations and dream vacations and dream destinations, places you want to go in the world. Chloe writes, I watched a documentary about Chilean music, and ever since I've started exploring books about Chile, looking at maps, planning itineraries, even though I know it'll take me a few years to save up the funds for such an ambitious trip as I have in mind, which is basically going from one end to the other. I just have a longing to hear the music and experience the landscape. That is so, I mean, yes, having those goals in life, to experience places in the world where you want to go. I know a lot of you want to go to Sweden, for example. I want to go to Machu Picchu. People probably have Africa and Asia and Australia and other places in Europe or North America or the Oceanic. So it's pretty cool to hear about your dreams in life. Richie writes, to be honest, I have a lot of dream destinations on my list, but there is one particular place that I've dreamed since I can remember. That place is St. Petersburg in Russia. I don't know why. I mean, I had always had a Russophilia, but St. Petersburg is just the peak of the iceberg. And it goes on. I got really excited about visiting St. Petersburg when I saw the film Russian Ark, which is basically a feature filmed in one take. The whole film is one take. And that got me excited about St. Petersburg, and maybe going there will lead me to wanting to go to Moscow. I've always sort of wanted to go on the like the train, the Trans-Siberian Railway, but yeah, I hear you, I feel you. Jane writes, all of Europe, which is, yeah, I've driven down to the southern parts of France from Sweden. I've taken a train from Sweden down to Switzerland and onwards to Budapest and back, and there's just so much more to explore. I mean, the continent is the size of the US, but instead of states, we have countries with their traditions and their languages and so on. Karina, hey Martin. You mentioned there is something within you that makes you want to go to Machu Picchu. Ever since I was a child, I felt the exact same way about Sweden and Norway. It's like these places are calling for me, and I hope to be able to visit one day and take in all of the beautiful landscape and cities. These 2 countries have been on the top of my destination list for too long. Thanks for another good talk. Well, I hope you get to go, Karina. I really hope you get to go, and I hope you get to go soon. Last one from that video. Christina, hey Martin. How are you? My dream destination number 1 is Sweden. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. Someday I will. By the way, me too. I love Machu Picchu. I love Peru. Never been there. Love the gastronomy. And another dream, Egypt and the pyramids. A lot of dreams. I want to see more videos. Sure, I will provide. The first time, I'm from the southern parts of Sweden, and we don't really get Northern Lights down there. But a few years ago, there was this like event or a moment where it could be seen all the way down to Germany, and I saw it when I was in Karlskrona, and it was just, and it was the same week as an eclipse, so it was one of those like special weeks when it came to things happening in the sky. So, but I mean, I haven't seen like the full, when it's like super amazing, the ones you see in pictures. I've seen a green sky, but there's more to see than can ever be seen, but I hope you get to see that. I made a video about pulling me out of the darkness, sort of to my friends, and Martina writes, as a response to someone else, I'm glad I could help in some way, but you guys also helped me to see how people are different in understanding the same topic in different ways, and both ways are pretty interesting and positive, I would say. And that is the thing. It's not the comment itself, but the fact that you guys are commenting on each other's comments. I love it! I love it! I love it! I love it! I mean, I want my video to be sort of just a start of a conversation around a topic. And then I want that conversation to continue in comments. And I am so happy whenever I see that. Mona writes, for a long time I thought the reason I go through this silently is because I care about people around me too much and I don't want them to be involved in my dark moments. I thought, hey, it's my demons and I'm the only one who can fight them. No one needs my mess in their life, but now I see how painful it could be for your close ones to just stand there without any chance to help, without you letting them to help. It's not caring. It's not healthy to think, oh, will someone even notice that I'm not okay? They will notice, and they want to be there for you, and it's okay to let them do it. Thank you for this reminder. P.S. You look fantastic today, sir. Stop it. Mona! Stop it. Yes, I think that I learned a lot making that video. Basically in 2 steps. I learned a lot when I actually said the words out loud. After I had recorded that video, I was like, huh. And I started applying some of the stuff I was talking about in that video. And also when I read all the comments from that video of people's experiences, because when you normalize something that you think is so taboo or something you don't talk about, then suddenly you start to see other perspectives of how other people think about things, and then you start to realize it's okay. It's okay. Ninaized, Helene, this is such a necessary video. It underlines the importance of introspective manuals. You know yourself best, and by letting the others know how you need to be handled in certain situations, you can get out of the dark place. Powerful stuff. I don't know if I know how to get out of the dark place. It's too early to function, but I'm going to think this one through later today. This was written a few weeks ago, and funnily enough, she's actually here right now. She's actually staying in our guest room. She's in town, walking around with her cousin. But that's the power of the internet. You can make beautiful friends from it. And last one on that comment, I have no idea how to pronounce that name. No, I'm not gonna try. Oh man, I felt like that more times than I can count. The thing is, here where I live, the whole population is like that. There are these 2% that are all happy, in a good mood all the time. The rest is just gloomy and dark. You can see on their faces as they struggle, that they are falling in this pit, but they would not ask for help. I think that this is obviously a very cultural thing of how far different countries or different parts of countries or cultures have gone when it comes to recognizing yourself as not always being super strong and admitting to others that you aren't. And I wouldn't say that I am the norm in Sweden, especially not when it comes to doing it for people around the world like this. But it's something I've always sort of kept this as important to me, to talk about feelings and talk about stuff like this. And I'm just lucky to have a platform to do it, and even luckier to have an audience listening and participating in the debate and the discussion, so thank you. Then I made a video about tolerance, which is funny because that is one of my most disliked videos. I mean, it has, let me see, it's not like it's super disliked, because I normally don't really get dislikes because those kind of people don't watch my videos. But it has 8 dislikes, which is just, it's funny in a weird way. Jane writes, tolerance is important as we are one anyway. We're all made out of the same stardust and chemicals, yet we are all unique. Sometimes what we find intolerable in others could easily be us in different circumstances. And that is looking inwards and sort of cross-examining yourself. Like she says, sometimes I can feel feelings of intolerance towards someone else's behavior, but then some of my behavior might be intolerant to them. Like putting videos on the internet. That can be extremely intolerant to some people. Believe me, I've seen it. Ribbons. I may not have control of situations and other people, but I have control of myself. This has always been sort of a mantra to me. Instead of dwelling with the negativity, I do my best to be the positive force. Another thing to remember, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. When I read that comment, I was like, yeah. Yeah! Yeah. 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 Alexander. It is such a small fraction of people that are truly evil. The vast majority of disagreements stem from people having a different sense of what's right or wrong, and I think if we as a society can kind of understand that better, it becomes much easier to have discussions about topics. I'm not saying let everyone do as they please. We need the rules, obviously, but we can all understand that the people who disagree with us don't do so because they're evil, but because they feel that this is what's right. It becomes much easier to have civil discussions and reach conclusions on why people think differently on different topics. I mean, yeah, That's the whole philosophical dilemma of what is right and what is wrong. It obviously differs from culture to culture and from law book to law book. And I think one thing I didn't actually press on in the video, which was sort of the point of the video, was that tolerance doesn't equal acceptance all the time. I mean, I can tolerate something, but it doesn't mean that I accept the behavior. It's just that I don't have to lash out when I'm just hitting air. There are other ways of probably reaching that. And the fourth video I did was a video about the, sorry, the risk of being burned out. I was very nervous about posting that video, which I think is probably a good thing, because then it means that it matters. Lena writes, "Thank you for sharing this. I can relate to your words. I tend to do things only because others want me to do them, and I feel like if I say no, people won't like it. They won't like me or think that I'm weak. And I do not want people to think bad about me. It's kind of like an endless circle. However, I try to break it more and more often as I've started to realize that it's okay to be weak sometimes. It's okay to stand your ground, and people who matter won't stop liking me just because I said no. After all, we live only once, so we might enjoy our lives a little more." Thank you for the good talk. I wrote in one or two comments a quote from Phoebe Buffay, when I think it's Ross that asks her to help him move a couch, and he says, "Can you help me?" And she says, "I can, but I don't want to." It's sort of so on point in so many ways. Joachim, "I'm constantly afraid to hit that wall myself, but I always try to drop things and slow things down when I feel it coming." Good talk, Martin. Yes, I mean, and that is not a luxury, understand me right, that everyone has. To be able to spot that before it actually comes. Because when you're in that zone, when you start going deeper and deeper, and you suddenly realize that you are so far down that you can't get up on your own. And then it's already sort of too late to just reverse it in your head. So if you, I don't know. I mean, I think about a lot of things. I think a lot, and I dwell on this and this and how I react to. So, and I wouldn't say that I have this super force or superpower that I'm able to spot this before it happens. But something within me, after seeing friends be in that situation, has given me experience, like secondary experience, to sort of start spotting certain traces of what that wall might be. And I'm lucky that I just saw it. I managed to just push it further away. Anne. A colleague from my work once told me that I should stop to do everything that I was told to do, and worse, doing those things well. She stated that when you can do almost everything, nobody recognizes your ability to do a particular job, probably that one which you are trained to do, and stop to address the assignments that you should be doing. Then you became disposable because nobody, including you, knows anymore which are your real responsibilities, even when the things are going on just because you are there. I try, but I'm afraid that I've never learned the lesson properly. And yes, there's a power to actually being upfront and honest, like Phoebe was, and just say no, instead of like, and yeah, even worse. I mean, doing it when you absolutely don't want to. It's one thing to do a favor for people, obviously, of course, you should, absolutely, but forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to is not a good thing. At least that's how I feel about it. So those were some comments from the past 4 videos. I have linked all the 4 videos in the description. I'll link them right after this, right here on the screen, if you want to see any of them. And of course, if you want to participate in the discussion, I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for watching. I will see you the next time you click on one of my videos. Good talk.
I was there by your side with my eyes open wide, and I know that will always be true.